In this video, I'm going to share with you my entire setup and process for getting perfectly flat slabs using the basic Slab Flattening Mill PRO from Woodpeckers. And maybe slabs aren't quite your thing, and that's okay, because I'll also be using the system to help me flatten 6 end grain cutting boards at once. Before we get started, I wanted to give you a rundown of my setup. For my router, I'm using this Bosch 1617 2¼ horsepower router. For dust collection, I have this 2.5-inch hose hooked up directly to my dust collector, and I suspended it from my ceiling a bit with this string. The string helps to keep the dust hose up and out of the way, so then I can focus on flattening instead of dust hose management. For easy transporting, I added these 2 handles to either end to make moving this a little easier. If you're interested in dimensions, this panel that the rails are mounted to is 80 3/4 inches long, 49 inches wide, and it's made out of particle board. To add the handles, I made this simple little jig and just used a flush trim router bit to transfer the pattern to my panel. The router bit I'm going to be using to flatten everything today is this Ultra-Shear 1.5-inch carbide insert spoil board bit. Before I can begin flattening this slab, I first added some shims and then secured it in place with these slab clamping dogs. Next, I set my bit to take off about 1/16 of an inch of material from the highest spot on the slab. Then I worked down the slab, removing material and taking off the highest points first. When there was nothing else to cut, I lowered my router bit about another 1/16 of an inch and then continued flattening the slab. And this is an extremely easy process with this setup. The router carriage glides along the rails smoothly and in a perfectly straight motion. The aluminum extruded rails are rock solid and they have zero deflection as the router moves back and forth, which results in a perfectly flat slab after the flattening process is over. And while it may look like I'm making a big mess, trust me, it's a lot worse with zero dust collection. The twin dust port is actually picking up about 90% of the dust and chips that are created, but those larger chips that get left behind, they're still contained in a neat little pile thanks to that full surround dust curtain that prevents them from flying all over the shop. Once the first side was all done, I flipped it over and clamped the slab back in place and made a pass on the other side to bring the slab down to a final thickness. And I actually plan on using this slab to make a small entryway table, and then that other smaller slab, I want to use that to make a cool little serving tray. The options are endless with what you can do with these slabs, honestly. But just because we call this system the Slab Flattening Mill, that doesn't mean that you're limited to just flattening slabs. End grain cutting boards are also a great option, especially if you're making them in bulk like I am here. With this setup, I was able to flatten these 6 boards all at once, but I'm really confident I could have fit probably 3 more boards on here as well. Once I got everything all clamped down, I set my bit height and then made a pass around the perimeter on all the boards, making sure to follow the rotation of the router bit. I do that to establish a nice clean edge so then I can avoid tear out. And of course, mistakes are going to happen. So here's a quick example of what it looks like if you feed the router in the wrong direction. With the perimeter all routed on all 6 boards, I made my way down the line, flattening all 6 boards in a matter of minutes. Having the ability to flatten all of these boards at one time was a huge time saver. My only regret is that I didn't have 3 more boards to throw up here and get flattened during this process. Once the first side of the boards was done, I verified everything was perfectly flat and then unclamped the boards and cleaned up the surface to get ready to flatten the second side. And the best part about flattening the second side is now that I have a flat surface, I can use double-sided tape instead of those clamping dogs to secure the boards in place. And don't get me wrong, those clamping dogs work wonderfully, and they're completely necessary for securing wobbly slabs. But there's no doubt that they take longer to set up than this double-sided tape. After I quickly got everything secured, I was on to flattening the second side of these cutting boards. Now, I definitely did not cover every detail on the Slab Flattening Mill Pro in this video. So if you have any questions at all, please go ahead and leave them right below. And if you're interested in learning more about this system, such as how to put it together or what's all included, then I'll leave some links to additional videos below that'll answer all of those questions for you. I really hope you found some inspiration from this video and learned a thing or two along the way. If you did, please hit that like button below and consider subscribing to our channel so that way you never miss any of our new videos. Thank you so much guys for watching, and I will see you next time here on RedTOOL Woodshop.